Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
A sun-splashed sports dad, Judd Zulgad, is back with some camp notes. Mandatory mini camp taking place in Eagan this week. Usually they punt on day 3 today, but
no, not this year.
They're doing a third day today.
So I think what they did is the reason why they're not punting on day 3 is they've changed the schedule. Ordinarily, the mandatory mini camp is the last thing. And so it's the last thing of the entire offseason program, and then they go off and take some time off. Well, it's not the last thing. It's been moved up a week, and there's OTAs next week. And what I was told was the OTAs next week are for players. I want to say the oldest players will be third or fourth year guys. Okay.
So it's like young player OTA.
Yeah. Like McCarthy. Yeah. Young players. So this is the last chance with the vets. And so I don't know if they purposely did this because of that, but this is their last chance for like installs and things like that. And so because it's not a week later, there is more of a desire, I think, to get 3 days. So we are for the first time, I believe, because if I'm not mistaken, O'Connell's first 2 years, they basically did 2 days of mandatory minicamp. For the first time, we are seeing a 3-day camp. They're working harder.
Oh. Yeah, other teams are going bowling and doing barbecues on the third day. Not this team. This team is in the trenches, hand in the grass.
Is paintball still a thing?
That seems dangerous to me.
Yeah, paintball's still a thing.
Teams did that for
I would never do that. That sounds horrible. It sounds like literally like one of the
I've never done paintball.
No, would not be a fun thing.
I haven't either. So
Really?
none of us have ever played paintball before?
I would have suspected in its prime that at least one of you two back then.
Laser tag for sure.
Laser tag. You want to see me at Grand Slam at laser tag? That's a different story.
I've done Hunger Games before. Hunger Games. You know, you just put 20 humans in an arena and only one comes out.
Kill each other.
Alive.
Yeah.
Done that before. But paintball is a little too dangerous.
All for those ahi tuna crisps. Phil will kill someone for some
I was going to say.
That's right.
If it's the Cheddar Bay biscuits at Red Lobster with Phil, it's 100% on.
No. The biscuits are great. I'm more about the East Coast oysters. I'll crawl over your body.
Yeah. Red Lobster, by the way, shout out. I think they're done. Very, very sad. The greatest Cheddar Bay biscuits of all time.
So they're done now. That's too bad.
I think they are. I'm not positive.
So we're going to get to Judd's camp notes after we shout out our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. Now, as a business owner, do you have a game plan in place to stay focused on safety and preventing claims? Let the team at Federated help support your business. Federated Insurance offers a customizable lineup of industry-specific coverages and risk management services to help you continue your winning streak as a business owner. At Federated Mutual Insurance Company, it's our business to protect yours, and you can find out more at federatedinsurance.com. Okay, can you start with quarterbacks? Because I know you dumped like 30 minutes of quarterback notes. You gave us a lot the other day, but Declan and I, you are the quarterback news dealer, and we need an injection right now.
Supply here.
All right. This is
meet me around the corner.
Just to be clear, this is the last one that's free. Okay.
Or putting the quarterback updates behind
a
paywall.
This is the last update. This is the last fix that's going to be free. From now on, I got to make some money off this. All right. Okay. Yes, I can. So day 2 of the mandatory mini camp, Judd's camp notes, quarterback update. First of all, Sam Darnold looks pretty good. Now, again, there's no pass rush here. Now, let me bring up the one thing I am seeing, and this is not a surprise, but just as a cautionary, some nice passes. I think he's got some touch. But the one thing I'm seeing, and it's not surprising, but it's interesting, is this. There is clearly, and the question is how quickly can he evolve through this? There is clearly a learning process because obviously in drills, there's no rush. Like, it's not like guys are going to sack you, right? And there are times where Darnold is buying a ton of time. And I think that just comes from a lack of familiarity with the Kevin O'Connell offensive system. So this is going to be a work in progress there. And I don't think it's like a huge concern, but I will always go back to when Kirk Cousins started in this offense, despite the fact that we thought that he was pretty familiar because of his time with O'Connell in Washington. Kirk's like, not really. He's like, it's changed a bit and it's very complex. Okay. So the warning sign on Darnold is, I think there are going to be times where you see some hiccups as he adjusts. So like, yes, I'm sure that Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco had some things that are similar, but similar does not mean this exact same. So that's the one cautionary thing. Sam Darnold is clearly trying to learn a system that has some complexities that veteran quarterbacks don't immediately get necessarily.
The sack rate thing is something, because if I'm gleaning correctly, one you said he's buying a lot of time in these drills because he's trying to figure out, what he's looking at.
Yes.
And if you're doing 7-on-7, there is no pass rush period. Even full team drills, they're not finishing. You're not like getting hit in these practices.
Correct.
So that is one thing to watch, though, because in his career, even when he played pretty well with the Panthers, but in his career, he takes a sack on 7.6% of pass attempts. So his sack rate is 7.6%. If you would have taken every quarterback in the NFL last year and taken Sam Darnold's career sack rate and plopped it into last year's starters, it would have been one of the 8 or 9 highest sack rates in the league. Ryan Tannehill had the highest sack rate. So he started 8 games for the Titans last year, huh? Tannehill? Mm-hmm. Yikes. Zach Wilson, second highest sack rate. Didn't know what he was looking at.
Yeah. Mess.
Justin Fields, because he would just run around and he'd keep plays alive, but then he would take bad sacks. Bryce Young, rookie, doesn't know what he's looking at. Will Levis, rookie, doesn't know what he's looking at. Sam Howell, rookie, and also took crazy amounts of sacks. And then Russell Wilson, who's just a statue at this point. So, yeah, the sacks are something to watch with Sam Darnold, for sure.
Yeah, and it's a balancing act a little bit with Sam, because you've got the sacks, but you've also got a history of time of picks as well. So it's like, and I'm sure that the Vikings are like, we would prefer you take a sack as opposed to throw a pick. So that's going to be, to me, in at least the first portion of the season, that's going to be a really interesting thing to watch, because you don't want him to get sacked a ton. You want the ball to come out, but you don't want the ball to come out under duress and have it returned for a touchdown.
By the way, his career interception rate, if plopped into last year's list, would have been 3rd highest in the NFL behind Mac Jones and Sam Howell. Tied with Josh Allen, by the way. But Josh Allen, he'll give you the 18 interceptions, and then he'll account for like 35 touchdowns and a bunch of game-winning drives and stuff. Right. So that's something you got to rein that in. But some of it's like he's played with bad teams, bad offensive lines. But one of the biggest misperceptions about sacks in the NFL is that, like, whenever a quarterback takes a sack, it's the offensive line's fault. We must find the mistake that the left guard made or the right tackle.
It's not
Sometimes it's the offensive line's fault, but it's also on the quarterback to just get rid of the ball in the face of pressure, and not take an 8-yard loss. And that's been something Sam Darnold has had a hard time with in his career.
Mm-hmm. By the way, J.J. McCarthy last year, a 14.9% sack rate. That was the 4th lowest in the draft class of this group of quarterbacks.
14.9 would be a wildly high sack rate.
I don't know if this is also the big stand and deliver from givemesport.com. McCarthy had... with big time, right, on top of big time throws. So like they charted big time throw rate and sack rate when pressured. So Jaden Daniels had a 24% sack rate when pressured throughout his career.
Pressured, okay.
In McCarthy's case, it was 14.9 when pressured, but that was the 4th lowest in the draft class, correct?
So when McCarthy is pressured in college, he takes fewer sacks in the face of pressure than other guys. That's okay.
All right.
Interesting.
That, though, Dex, is a perfect transition to the update on day 2 mandatory minicamp, J.J. McCarthy. All right.
Is that your Alan Roche, J.J. McCarthy? Was that your...
No, I can't do Roche. No, I'm just trying. I was just feigning a voice. No. I can't. I don't think if I wanted to, I could get anywhere near Roche where he gets so low.
Pretty impressive.
With that voice.
We should have you do like a Bruce Buffer thing, or like Michael Buffer's Michael Buffer's the let's get ready to rumble guy. And then Bruce
Carter.
It's time.
It's time.
That's more of a like
Spins around.
inflection thing. Roach is like his voice is I don't know where it comes from.
For the Vikings. Yeah, it's
Voice
nuts.
of God, basically. Yeah. All right, so on McCarthy, I thought yesterday was a perfect encapsulation of why the Vikings are bringing him along and will slowly. And it was a perfect encapsulation of what a quarterback goes through. One, in trying to learn a pro system. Two, in trying to learn a system that, as I just said with Darnold, has a lot of complexities. And three, just trying to like tread water until it starts to come, if that makes sense. Because, you know, we think, oh, first round quarterback going to step in, which is why I think Drake May with the Patriots could be a disaster. It's why Bryce Young was. But so JJ McCarthy's day yesterday, let's specifically highlight the 7-on-7 drills, red zone. I think they were about the 10. Okay. JJ McCarthy continues to show a great arm. The arm's good, but he also had 3 passes that were either over or underthrown pretty much consecutively. He threw a pass to, I believe it was a running back that bounced. He threw a pass to a tight end that had to be high, but it was too high. And he also threw a pass that was intended for Robert Tonyan around the goal line. And he did the same thing yesterday on a drill in the open field that he tried to drill through the defender. And in this case, safety Theo Jackson nearly picked it. And it got broken up. But the point is not to dump on McCarthy. The point is, I think that's very much a day that a young quarterback trying to learn has. And this is what you have to work through. Like, this is why you go back and then watch the film with O'Connell. And there was a point, I think it was at the end of the drills I'm talking about, where O'Connell pulled McCarthy aside and they were going through things, talking about things. But like, this is the process. These are the days. And so I guess I would caution fans, you're going to show up at training camp and there's probably going to be some stuff that looks pretty bad. That's not a death knell. It does not mean he sucks. It does mean that this is one, why you signed Darnold to start. And two, why this is like, if JJ McCarthy is not playing in November, you should not lose your bleep, because he should not play until it's very clear that he can start to process what he is seeing. And right now, I think he's trying to operate off of instincts, and that's fine. But you, to play in a game, have to understand what you're looking at. And it's very clear at this point, he's struggling with that, which is not surprising.
So you think he's a bust?
Oh, it's over. It's over. Bring back Ponder.
In fact, I have like written down in my clip sheet for social media, like Judd on fans needing patience with McCarthy. And then that's going to get aggregated of sports stats saying we have to be patient here. And then the bus label starts. That's how it works.
Training camp practices, look, I mean, they're open. There are going to be times where things are going to look bad. But judging that, in my opinion, is, and I mean, I love to rush to judgment. Judging that is of no use.
There is a conspiracy theory that I'd like to bring to the table. I touched on it with Doogie a little bit in our scoop session today, Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd.
Love a good conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Wow.
It is what I said to you guys is, it feels to me anecdotally like the Vikings organization is making a concerted effort to minimize the spotlight on JJ McCarthy. I mean, and just to be candid, we even reached out after the draft. Like Kevin O'Connell will come on the show sometime this summer. We've had players been made available to us in the past. Sometimes we say yes, sometimes we don't. But we asked for JJ McCarthy, and they very politely, we have a good relationship with Vikings PR, and they very politely said, maybe some other time. We're just like, he's got a lot on his plate, whatever. And it was no. It feels like they've been trying to hide him a little bit. Not in a devious way, but just in a, hey, he's 21.
Yeah.
We don't want him to feel the pressure of the organization, the weight of the fans and everything.
Yep.
So let's just keep him on the down low. Let's have him practice with Jaron Hall over here, right? Well, it's funny when you go to Vikings.com. So again, this is mandatory minicamp, man. Like, this is All the players are out there practicing. All of the media who covers the Vikings are out there, cameras, everything. Vikings.com. They've got 8 headlines on the right side of the website. Not one mention of J.J. McCarthy. They have
that's interesting.
A photo dump from yesterday.
Yeah.
100 photos in a photo dump. I am literally scrolling through them, and they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm at 39, 40, 41, 42. No J.J. McCarthy photos yet. 43, 44. I mean, literally, there's like a 5th string edge rusher. There's a special teams guy.
I think you're 1,000% right.
There's the backup punter.
I think
they are just, all I'm saying is they are clearly minimizing the attention and spotlight on J.J. McCarthy. That's my point.
So they and we'll show these here in a little bit. They released the Ultimate Winter Warrior jerseys, which are sweet. These look awesome, by the way. If you haven't checked them out, we'll show them here in just a bit. But they have like a gallery that they did, where you could kind of see everyone that wore them. I see Aaron Jones, I see Brian O'Neill, C.J. Ham, J.J. Harry, Addison.
Oh, McCarthy's not going to be in there. No way. Yeah.
Metellus.
No
J.J. McCarthy.
So he wasn't part of the photo shoot.
No.
And is there a chance that this photo shoot was done before the draft?
There's a chance. But I mean, they still, I'm sure, could have involved him. But I mean, this is again, goes back to being smart. There's no reason
Hawkinson's in it.
But there's no reason.
I just stick with me here because I'm on photo 76, photo 77. There's the 6th photo of Sam Darnold. I think they posted 100 photos from minicamp practice day 2. There's Jaron Hall, Nick Mullins, Sam Darnold. Dudes, I'm at photo 85. 0 photos of J.J. McCarthy on Vikings.com from day 2 at practice. Now, you were there. He was out there,
and
right?
If you go to the Score North X account, guess what? Oh, there's plenty of McCarthy because some people were laser focused on him. The sports dad had his camera phone out. But yeah, this is
95, 96, 97, 90. There he is, 98. Photo 98.
Oh, ruined your theory.
Biggs. No, it didn't ruin it. It just
they're focusing on him.
Can you see him? There he is.
Yeah, he's looking good.
So they did sneak one in there at the very end of the photo gallery. So he does exist.
But there's no question about this. And this is the smart move. There is no reason. If you think about it, what is the incentive to get people jacked up for a kid who probably shouldn't play?
It might not play till 2025.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't disagree with the plan at all. I'm highlighting it. I think it's interesting.
Oh no, it's actually almost predictable too. Because like if you think about how Kwesi and O'Connell operate, this is like if I had come to you and said, okay, they're going to draft McCarthy. They are going to talk about him constantly, B, talk about him sometimes, or C, shield him. I think we all mark C.
C with like a C, maybe a little bit of B. Yeah, but certainly not pump his tires and go crazy. So, okay.
So anyway, that is your
quarterback update.
Yeah. Nick Mullins is the 2, so it's Darnold, Mullins, and then I would say it is Hall and McCarthy and Hall. So that is your quarterback update. The next time it will cost you at least a little something. Okay. Since Dex broached it, Dex, let's roll the Winter Warrior
visual uniforms for the YouTube audience here. For the audio audience, you can find these pictures, the Vikings social media account. I retweeted them.
All over.
Look at these things. So pure white with purple numbers.
Yep.
Some sort of silver Vikings lettering, silver outline around the numbers.
Yep.
White helmets with a silver stripe down the middle.
And that's a huge change.
I mean, this is the craziest uniform deviation in the history of Vikings football. What do you guys think? It's one game, Monday Night Football,
I love
December 16th.
I love it. It's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome.
Absolutely. My issue with college is that, first of all, they basically now have different uniform combinations or just different uniforms for every game, and you don't know. Like you go to a game and there's some games that it literally, for me, is difficult to tell which team is the Gophers There was
You can tell
one
pretty
game,
easily. It's the team that never passes and is down by
they're
23
running the ball.
points.
There was
in the
one
second
game
quarter.
where I'm not joking. They played a non-conference game against a team that looked more like them than they did. But I love this. I think that this is really cool. And if they were going to switch full time, I'd be like, okay, not so much. But for a game, and the addition of, so they've done the whiteout concept for the last 2 years. But the fact that they're now able to switch helmets, which was not prohibited for a while, and to go to this all white, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's the first non-purple helmet in Vikings history.
Wow.
First ever non-purple helmet. Lindsey Young had some of this stuff, who works for Vikings.com. They removed all the warm tones from the color palette. There is Nordic knot pattern on the neckline. Reimagine dripping ice accents and inspired by ancient Vikings culture and Minnesota winters.
I'm in. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I like
I know
them.
whenever
like
a team does a uniform refresh or an
Twins.
alternate uniform, a certain percentage of people hate it, but
Twins
it's
will
an
be doing theirs too, I think, on Friday. So there's a couple new uniforms. coming to Minnesota.
I think the Vikings are one of the teams in the NFL that has like barely deviated from their original. Like they'll do different stripes and stuff, but it's the Vikings horn. They haven't done like the Utah Jazz in the NBA just went back to their mountain jerseys, and they've done 5 different rebrands.
NBA. Yeah, that's 8 jersey combinations now. The only time in my time following the Vikings, the only year or years that I hated their jerseys were actually the teams I covered at the Strib. Those Favre, now not the throwbacks, those were great. But if you guys recall, they basically went to what looked like a high school jersey of theirs. No. I hated those, like with weird stripes and crap.
Yeah, they had like the collar stripes too.
Yeah, I thought that was awful.
In the moment, I don't know, like when you look back historically, those are also my least favorite.
They
Vikings
stand
uniforms.
out.
Yeah.
They stand out. But yes, bravo. It's it's going to be fun. It's one game. All right, continuing on. It is meat and potatoes time, boys. Meat and potato football conversation here. So if you are not prepared to go into the weeds of the pigskin here, I suggest you get out.
And real quick, just for show planning purposes, what time does Sports Dad have to leave the recording of this podcast
like
to go to day 3? Okay.
Yeah, I got time.
So we got like 15 to 18 minutes of camp notes and then a random Viking of the week.
Yes. But we're gonna get down and dirty just once, and then I got a couple of things small, and then I've got a random Viking of the week, which will pit you two against each other. But I want to talk about the tight end, and we also touched on this with Dukes during our scoops session today as well. But there's something very interesting happening here, percolating at TCO Performance Center. So TJ Hawkinson, I think, is probably out for at least the first month of the regular season. So not training camp. He's out for training camp, but I think he's out for at least a month. I might be more. I think they're going to be incredibly cautious. It's an ACL. It was bad. You don't want to rush him back. But what's also interesting, and I don't have a reason for this, but Nick Muse has not been at the minicamp. Now, Jalen Naylor also has not been there. It was asked about, and it turns out he's sick, okay? So Muse might just be sick or something. But he is one of the options, of a guy vying for a position here. So what this has opened it up to is an interesting possibility here, which is I think the Vikings are very much looking for a receiving tight end while Hawkinson is out. So this person's role could be pretty big for a month plus, and then he could be on the bench, play a little bit. So just to set the scene here, Johnny Munt, my guy from 2 years ago, who I loved, is running right now with the first team. And Johnny Munt has actually been productive. He has been, now he's been a backup for the most part, but he has been productive. But do I think that he's the cat's meow of tight ends? No, I don't. I just think he's a productive guy.
He's the cat's meow of third string tight ends.
Third string tight ends. He's the best in the league. Exactly right. But I want to talk about 2 interesting cases here of guys vying for jobs that at least could be significant until the Hawk returns if Nick Muse does not come back and play well or does not win a job. Let's start with a guy that we talked about, Phil, a couple days ago on my camp notes off day one, which was N'Keal Harry. So caught up with him yesterday to ask about his move from wide receiver to tight end. I didn't know if this was like a recent idea, if this had been percolating or what. Now, if you recall, N'Keal Harry, former first-round pick of the Patriots, joined the Vikings in training camp last year, got cut at some point, came back to the practice squad, played no role, but he was a Viking for the majority of last season. Well, according to Harry, Kevin O'Connell pulled him aside towards the end of the regular season. So once Hawkinson was hurt, I believe this was very intentional. And he said, what do you think about playing tight end? And N'Keal, seeming like a pretty sharp guy whose career has, not one iota gone as expected, said, oh, I'm in, no question. So he has been working at tight end since then. He was on the field. Yes, I'll get to that. I'm setting this up for you.
Sure.
He has been working at tight end since then. He has been playing there in OTAs. He has been playing there this week. And he did say, so he is listed on the Vikings roster at 6'4", 225. He said that as a receiver on the practice squad last year, he was 230. After talking to O'Connell about this move, he put on 10 pounds. So he is now 6'4", 240.
Wow.
So, and he looks like a tight end.
And that's he's a muscular guy. I've seen him around a couple times,
He's
right?
a big dude right now.
Big dude.
I'm guessing that's not cheeseburger, 10 pounds of parlor burgers or whatever.
Oh.
Are you? Oh my God, parlor burgers?
Actually, come on, man.
They're
almost
so
lunchtime.
Good.
Or
no, it's not.
Red cow burgers.
Cow
would
burgers.
be
Red cow.
Yeah.
Exactly
for this
right.
show. Yeah.
No, it's not. So, do I believe that this is a pretty big transition? Absolutely. But he's got receiver technique. He's got hands, and I think it's an interesting. If it's a last gasp to save his career, I think it's really intriguing. He said the biggest changes in making the move from receiver to tight end are assignments and technique. As far as the technique goes, he talked about getting in the tight end stance as opposed to being a receiver on the outside, getting out of the stance, the different route combinations required of a tight end compared to a receiver. Obviously, there can be blocking responsibilities, but this is being taken very seriously. And I think the reason why is that, again, with Hawkinson out, I think there is a real competition for a receiving tight end job, at least to open training camp.
Yeah, and so Hawkinson out. They kept 4 tight ends on the roster last year, so it's kind of. I mean, if Munt's running with the ones right now, he's gonna be 30 years old, but if he's running with the ones, he's making the team.
Yep.
And Josh Oliver ain't going anywhere. So if they keep 4, it's basically to start the season 2 roster spots for 2 of these 3 guys: Nick Muse, Robert Tonyan, and N'Keal Harry. Now Tonyan has the most red zone experience catching passes, but he's also 5 years older than N'Keal Harry. So interesting. I mean, this is like the deep weeds of minicamp, training camp battles, but the tight end stuff is very interesting.
So in Tonyan's case, he's 6'5", 240 pounds as well. Caught back-to-back touchdowns in 7-on-7 red zone drills on Wednesday. And here's the interesting thing. So this dude, as you said, is 30, entering his 7th season. He originally was with Detroit, didn't play a game there. He did play quite a bit with the Packers and then bounced to a very disappointing year with the Bears in 2023. But the interesting thing about his career, if you go through his stats, is in 2020, he caught 11 touchdown passes with the Packers.
Yeah.
He has 6 touchdowns in the 5 other seasons in which he has played. But, the target, the hands, like this makes a lot of sense to at least give him a look because there was something there. And I will say this. I don't know how much I hold a difficult season with the 2023 Bears against you.
Yeah.
I didn't watch them a ton, But yeah, things were not right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, did Tunyon, has he gone off the cliff because of age? Or did he go into a predicament where he thought it would be favorable and it wasn't? But two very different circumstances here. Harry trying to move positions, but offers certainly some hands as far as his abilities go. And then Tunyon, who fits the profile more. But I think the question is he off the cliff, or did the Bears push him and he can still grab back onto said cliff?
I could see the Vikings throwing N'Keal Harry into certain packages if he makes the team. I don't know that they would trust him to be playing like 30 or 40 snaps, no chance.
I agree.
But is he like a 5 to 9 snap guy when you get into the red zone and his responsibilities are very clear? Go get open on this
catch
route.
The football in the corner of the end zone. Exactly right. Yes.
Interesting. And you're going to be matched up on a safety or a linebacker that you should be more athletic and bigger than. So, anyways, okay, good stuff.
All right, two more, real quick. Or actually, one more, real quick. C.J. Ham. Now you're asking Sports Dad, why are you talking about him? I mean, he's a fullback. He doesn't play. Okay,
He
just
plays a little bit.
Keep an eye out for this, because this actually, if you want to see the play unfold, go to our Score North X account from Tuesday, because it got posted there. CJ Ham has been in some drills in motion quite a bit, running routes. And the play I'm talking about, he caught a seam pass from, I think it was Darnold, for what would have been a touchdown. Here's what I'm thinking, okay? I'm not saying that there's a CJ Ham package. I don't believe that. But I wonder if this is indicative of getting the guys in the backfield more involved. Because I think there is no question Aaron Jones, who's a character, like he is.
I love that addition.
He is out there as far as in a good way, as far as being really personable. Yeah. And look, we've not seen him after a bad loss or something. So I always wait. I don't judge, but he is definitely a more dynamic personality, a veteran guy. He's going to talk.
This team needs some of that.
He's got some spark to him, but it's not a bad spark. It's a good spark. Yeah. But I just wonder if what I was seeing from Ham is a nod to more involvement overall from the backs, because I think if there would be one offensive criticism about O'Connell through 2 years, it's that we really haven't seen that consistently yet. Just food for thought.
Yeah. And not to take shots at CJ Ham. He's had a nice Vikings career. I don't know that I need the 31-year-old fullback as a featured piece of the offense, but if it's indicative of just some more motion, creativity, some different things, then sign me up.
Judge as you will. I'm just here as the provider.
Sure. That's fair.
Judge it as you will.
Some great camp notes from the sports dad, Judd Zulgad, out at TCO Performance Center, sweating, puffing and puffing.
The wind on Wednesday was awful.
It was nuts.
This is what I want, though. I want these quarterbacks. You're going to be
blowing around.
You're going to be playing in Green Bay, Chicago. You better get used to throwing passes in the wind. JJ McCarthy.
No, I'm concerned about myself.
Judd falling over while he charts fifth string tight end reps. Before we get to a random Viking of the week here, a shout out to all you Ragnars out there who ride motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, dirt bikes. You go to DennisKirk.com and check out over 185,000 parts, apparel, and accessories for whatever it is that you ride. They offer same-day shipping, free shipping on orders over $89, financing plans available as low as 0% for up to 12 months. And they also have a ride finder tool where you can enter your make, your model, the year, and find parts that will fit exactly what you need. Check them out at DennisKirk.com. All right, Judd has the random Viking of the week for us here. It'll be a battle between Declan and myself. All time, Judd has 70 wins, Declan 34, I have 23. In the new era where we compete equally against each other, Judd with 19 wins, I have 15, Declan has 8. The last handful of random Vikings, I'm on a 3-game winning streak, by the way. Amp Lee, Irv Smith Jr., Kirk Cousins, Troy Williamson, Charles Johnson, Judd has a series of clues. We can shout out guesses whenever we want. Once one of us hits a third strike, the other one wins automatically. We should at some point, because we've been doing this for 3 years, we should like find a way to
reset it.
To either reset it or put the list out for the listeners, because like we get suggestions for Random Vikings, like, yeah, we did that 3 years ago. Or
sure.
We might have to revisit how we do Random Viking of the Week here after 3 years. That's what I'm saying. But today?
But not today, we don't.
Judd's
I got
the
clues.
Yep.
I got the clues. Are you boys ready?
Yes.
All right, clue number 1. This former Viking was a 3rd-round draft pick out of Ohio State. He was a member of the 2002 Ohio State team that won the BCS National Championship game. In 4 seasons with the Vikings, he started 28 of 48 games in which he played.
Holy cow.
This player on the defensive side of the ball played for the following coaches: Mike Tice, Brad Childress, and Mike Shanahan. And by the way, to be clear, because there will be clues of a different nature coming up, those were his NFL coaches. So his NFL coaches included Tice, Childress, Mike Shanahan. He interrupted his own National Football League career by spending 2 seasons as a member of the Florida Tuskers, an Orlando-based franchise in the old UFL.
Okay.
So we've come across this before. Denny Green coached in it. Dante Culpepper played in it. He was with the Florida Tuskers in the UFL.
Wow.
Again, defensive side of the ball.
Yep.
Do I hear a percolating of a guess or no?
I think this guy went to Florida. Third round.
Went to Florida? I'm sorry. What was it?
Sorry,
What was it?
I'm thinking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Because he was a Buckeyes. He played for Ohio State.
I'm going to control F somebody here.
Okay. Do you want me to keep going or do you want me to wait?
Was it this guy? I don't know. I'm gonna throw a guess out. Was it? I don't know if I can't remember what round he was taken, but Dontarius Thomas?
No. No, that'd be a buzzer. All right. His teammates with the Tuskers included our friend Brooks Bollinger, and he was coached by first Jim Haslett and then Jay Gruden.
Oh, yeah. That's hilarious.
Which leads to the next clue. So after a 2-year hiatus in the UFL, he returned to the National Football League in 2010 and signed with Washington.
Yep.
In large part because Haslett had then become that team's defensive coordinator.
Yep.
So he was a Viking. Then he spent a couple of years out of playing football in the UFL, and then he returned to end his career playing only 9 games over 2 seasons with Washington.
So oh man, so you got Judd covered this player.
Yep.
I'm trying to.
Here's one that should help. In 2006, he had 5.5 sacks to lead the Vikings.
Darian Scott.
Bingo.
Darian Scott. Let's go.
Bingo.
Yes.
Bingo. Darian Scott.
Was there any clues about putting a plastic bag over your children's
last
heads? One. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to stay away from that a little bit. Yes, but I did include that clue, but I didn't think. But you know what's incredible about that? That shows you pre-Jared Allen just how horse bleep for years that pass rush was. 5.5 sacks led the team. 5.5.
Because they had some like 3 or 4 dark years where, Kelechi
Well, they tried to
had a
draft
few
that,
sacks one year.
And then in 2005, the second first round pick was Erasmus James.
Yeah.
But
Darian
I mean that
Scott.
shows you. Yep, Darian Scott, who did have some legal problems. He's now with a company. He's now the president of a company in Fort Myers, Florida.
Okay.
Like a transportation company.
Good for him. Good for Darian.
And he's on X. Rarely posts though. I looked it up last night. Okay. Rarely posts on X.
4 consecutive victories.
Yep.
For yours truly.
Dex, did you watched him play, right? Darian Scott?
I kinda, but the name did nothing for me. The name did nothing for me. It would have been in my still good wheelhouse of Vikings years, but I would never have gotten that.
Yeah,
I would never know the name.
Pick. He had 4 sacks in 2005, 5.5 in 2006.
Yep.
And then 2007, things got kind of weird. Then he went off. But
he got hurt. He got hurt. And then I forgot he was charged with the child endangerment in like April of 2008. And his last year here was 2007, right?
Yeah. So it was after that.
Yeah. I forgot about that fact.
So there it is. Random Viking of the week here. Judd's camp notes. Judd, we got to send you back.
I got to go.
Day 3.
I got to go for day 3.
In Egan. And we'll hit you with a feedback Friday that probably involves some camp notes. A little feedback and some camp notes tomorrow.
Snake draft?
Live.
Oh, a snake draft.
And a snake draft, too. I think tomorrow's is going to be airplane and airport related pet peeves. Well, we can workshop that.
Sure. What's up, Dex?
Dex, what's going on?
We're drafting the thing that we would do. We're drafting. What would that mean?
Well, I think we're going to wait till Phil tells us tomorrow.
Well, your biggest pet peeve on an airplane or at an airport.
Cool. Okay.
There was just like a lot of confusion there, and I was like, okay.
I was a little confused. I was like, are we drafting the thing that I would avoid or the thing that would annoy me? I was curious because I have a lot of airport takes, so I was just making sure my game plan,
Here comes the train.
My offensive coordinator.
Here comes the train. The train's coming through. Hold it for me. I got to get out to TCO.